The day you realize that manipulation only works when it finds a wound to hook into is the day most people lose their power over you. Read that again in your head because it changed my life. People don't manipulate your strengths. They manipulate your fears, your guilt, your loneliness, your need to be chosen, your need to be liked, your fear of disappointing people. That's where the strings are attached. And once you can see the strings, it's very hard for someone to pull them. I used to think manipulation was this dark, obvious thing, some villain twirling their mustache in the corner. It's not. Most manipulation is subtle. It sounds like, I just thought you'd care more. It sounds like, wow, you've changed. It sounds like a long silence after you set a boundary. It sounds like someone making you feel responsible for emotions that belong to them. And here's what nobody tells you. The reason manipulation is so effective is because good-hearted people are usually the easiest targets. If you're empathetic, loving, considerate, and emotionally aware, you have probably spent years accidentally taking responsibility for things that were never yours to carry. Someone's disappointment, someone's insecurity, someone's inability to regulate their emotions, someone's expectations of you. And because you're a caring person, you think, maybe I should fix this. No, that instinct right there is what manipulators count on. One of the most freeing things I ever learned is that guilt and responsibility are not the same thing. Just because you feel guilty doesn't mean you've done something wrong. Let that sink in. You can say no and feel guilty. You can disappoint someone and feel guilty. You can choose yourself and feel guilty. That feeling is not evidence. It's just a feeling. Manipulative people know this. They know that if they can create enough discomfort inside you, you'll start abandoning your own needs just to make the discomfort stop. But emotionally intelligent women learn something different. They learn how to tolerate temporary discomfort. That's the entire game. Because when someone realizes guilt doesn't automatically make you change your mind, when they realize disappointment doesn't control you, when they realize emotional pressure doesn't work on you, the manipulation falls apart. I remember noticing this in my own life. The moment I stopped rushing to explain myself, everything changed. Have you ever noticed how some people ask questions that aren't really questions? They're looking for an opening. They're looking for a weakness. They're looking for a negotiation. Why aren't you coming? Are you really going to do that? Are you sure? And suddenly you're delivering a 20-minute TED Talk defending a decision you already made. Meanwhile, secure people are over here saying, yeah, that's what works best for me. End of discussion. The less you need permission, the harder you are to manipulate. And here's the biggest lesson of all. People can only use confusion against you when you're confused about yourself. When you know your values, your standards, your priorities, and your boundaries, manipulation becomes incredibly obvious. Because instead of asking, how do they feel about my decision? You start asking, does this decision align with who I am? Completely different question. One gives your power away, one keeps it. I also think it's important to understand that not everyone who manipulates is evil. Sometimes people manipulate because it's the only way they've learned to get their needs met. Sometimes it's unconscious. Sometimes they genuinely don't realize they're doing it. But whether it's intentional or not, the effect is the same. You are not required to participate. You do not owe access to people who punish your boundaries. You do not owe explanations to people committed to misunderstanding you. You do not owe endless emotional labor to people who refuse to manage themselves. And the most beautiful part, the less manipulable you become, the softer life feels, because you're no longer spending every day trying to manage everyone else's reactions. You're not walking on eggshells. You're not shape-shifting. You're not constantly checking the room to see who approves. You're just you, grounded, clear, peaceful. The truth is, nobody becomes impossible to manipulate because they learn every manipulation tactic. There are too many. They become difficult to manipulate because they know themselves, they trust themselves, and they stop treating other people's emotions as instructions. Once you understand that, something clicks. You stop fearing pressure, you stop fearing guilt, you stop fearing disapproval, and that's the moment people realize they can no longer control you through your heart. Because your heart finally belongs to you. Love you no matter what.